Let me tell you, if you've never watched a grown woman in a hot pink visor try to get a man arrested for eating a turkey sandwich on his own porch, you haven't really lived. Seriously, picture this. 1 second I'm standing out on my new dock, soaking in that perfect slice of lake sunrise, and the next, bam, sirens screaming, police cruisers barreling down my little dirt road, and half the neighborhood pouring out in slippers and robes like someone announced free donuts. I mean, you ever move somewhere hoping for peace and quiet? Yeah, that lasted about 20 minutes. I hadn't even set my last box down before she appeared. Clipboard gripped like a weapon, lips pressed so tight I thought she'd pop. Carol Peton. Remember that name. Not just the HOA president, but the self-declared sheriff of Lakeshore Estates. And that morning, she was out for blood. She marched right up to the officers, waving them like she'd summoned them herself. That's him. He's trespassing. Arrest him. He's been here since 6, disturbing our peace. You could actually see the older cop's soul leaving his body, and the young one, he just looked like he was fighting a laugh. Ma'am, can you explain what's going on here? The kid asked, sounding so calm it just about made Carol's head spin around. That's when I figured I'd better speak up. Officer, my name's Drew Sullivan. I own this place, just closed last week. My Uncle Frank left it to me. I held up my phone with the digital deed, trying to sound as polite as I could, but Carol turned this color I'd only ever seen on cartoon villains, stabbing her clipboard so hard I thought she'd snap it in half. Impossible. Every property on this lake falls under our supervision. I oversee all new residents. This man never applied. The officer took his sweet time looking over my paperwork while Carol went off about occupation permits and unauthorized trucks, and I don't know, probably world peace. Finally, he handed me back my phone, deadpan as a poker game. Ma'am, this gentleman owns the property. Unless you have evidence of a crime, there's nothing we can do. You'd think that would have been the end, right? Not with Carol. But he hasn't paid dues. He skipped the orientation. His truck is blocking the view. Her voice climbed so high I thought only dogs could hear her. The young cop cut her off. Is his property actually in your HOA? Carol didn't miss a beat. Everything within a mile belongs to us. I just had to. Sometimes you gotta poke the bear. Actually, no. This cabin was here 40 years before your subdivision. My uncle never joined. You should have seen her eyes behind those rhinestone sunglasses. We'll see about that, Mr. Sullivan. Nobody makes a fool of Carol Peton. Nobody. And off she stormed, sneakers squeaking, neighbors whispering, battle lines drawn in the gravel. The cops just gave me that good luck. Pal, look, and headed out, and I felt it. That cold, invisible chill when you realize the real storm's just started. Carol didn't go far. She actually set up camp at the edge of my place. Lawn, chair, thermos, telephoto lens, snapping pictures of my truck, my boxes, even my sandwich. That's improperly stored food. Health code violation. Bear hazard, she announced, dead serious. I just stared at my turkey sandwich. Carol, it's a sandwich. She snapped back. That's President Peton to you. And that's another violation. $50 fine. She was scribbling so fast you'd think she was writing up a triple homicide. 3 days in, I had a stack of citations. Trash cans too close, tire marks the wrong color, dock usage, non-compliant trash bins, you name it. She handed me a bill, $900 for unauthorized dock use, $600 for trash, $1,200 for damaging the community road. The legal documents were in Comic Sans, decorated with little gavels and smiley faces. I almost laughed. Carol, I've told you, I'm not part of your HOA. These fines mean nothing. She cackled. Oh, you sweet summer child. Lakeshore Estates governs the entire waterfront. Your uncle played rebel. But things have changed. She wasn't wrong. Things had changed, just not how she imagined. That night, I started digging. County clerk's records, archived surveys, the whole deal. Turns out, not only was my place never under their jurisdiction, but Carol's little empire was sitting on sand. Their beach was on state-protected land, their fancy boat launch on wetlands, and their scenic trail cut through 3 parcels they didn't own. The cherry on top? Email chains about Operation Total Lake Control. I wish I was making that up. By sunrise, I'd armed myself with more ammo than a fireworks stand. State environmental people, county commissioner, even a wetlands inspector. They were real interested in HOA shenanigans. I made my calls, and by the end of the week, the only thing moving faster than Carol's complaints were state officials eager to see the lake. Meanwhile, Carol tripled down. Violation notices everywhere. Unauthorized watercraft mooring. I don't even own a boat. She'd assembled a compliance committee, 3 women in matching pink visors, tracksuits, and clipboards, documenting every move I made. Tuesday, excessive smoke emissions from my burger grill. Wednesday, unauthorized construction for hammering a board. Thursday, Carol shows up with a decibel meter, waits for me to step on my own dock, then shouts, 82 decibels. Aggressive stomping with intent to disturb. That's when I snapped. I started my own log, photos, every fake citation, every over-the-top complaint. The next week, the real inspector showed up. Carol tried to intercept him, but he was from State Environmental. He measured their private beach, took soil samples, snapped pictures of their illegal dock. Then came the county surveyor, then the folks checking blocked lake access. With every official visit, Carol's pink visor slipped lower and lower. And then came the meeting. Emergency session at the HOA clubhouse. Room packed, tension so thick you could cut it with a butter knife. Carol at the podium, clutching her gavel, trying her best. Lawyer routine. This is targeted harassment by our newest resident. He's bitter about our reasonable fees. She pointed at me like I was the Antichrist. Front row, a guy pipes up, Carol, is it true the state's fining us $50,000 for wetlands violations? She stammers, that's under negotiation. Another woman, and the cease and desist on the beach? My kids play there. Carol tries. Temporary setback, will appeal. I finally stand up. May I address the board? Carol shoots daggers, but the treasurer nods. So I walk up, pass out folders, original surveys, state findings, legal boundaries. For years, this association's claimed control over properties and public land it doesn't own. My cabin, 3 old homes on the North Shore, and 2 acres of state waterfront. The room erupts, neighbors shouting, board members flipping through pages, faces draining. Carol tries to restore order, slams her gavel so hard the head snaps off. Lies, she shrieks. He forged those papers. This is a conspiracy. The treasurer just holds up an email. Carol, this is from your account. You literally wrote, establish dominance over the non-compliant shoreline. Properties. Another board member chimes in. The subject line says Operation Total Lake Control. The dam broke. Janet from the back waves her stack of fines. $600 for a blue kayak. $800 for wind chimes. Tom from Unit 12 holds up a ticket for aggressive garden gnome. Sally on the corner got fined for non-approved birds. One by one, folks start unloading years of pent-up rage. Turns out, Carol's kingdom was built on pettiness and fear. The court hearings were brutal. The judge ordered the HOA to tear down everything they'd built on state land, barred them from claiming anything outside their deeded lots. Total fines, $175,000. But the kicker, the judge looked Carol in the eye and said, Ms. Patton, due to intentional misrepresentation and harassment, you're barred from any HOA leadership for 10 years. The courtroom was dead silent. You could hear her pink visor hit the floor. She tried to rush the bench, got slapped with another $5. 000 contempt fine, and slumped down, pale as a ghost, while her neighbors quietly filed out, not one of them looking her way. Just like that, the Queen of Lakeshore Estates lost her crown. Now, I sit on my dock with my coffee, no orange tape, no binoculars spying from the bushes, just water, a couple of loons, and neighbors who wave. Funny how justice finally catches up, even with folks who think the rules only apply to everybody else. So, let me ask you, would you stand up to a bully with a clipboard, or just pay the fine and pray she moves on? Drop your wildest HOA story, or your best trick for handling a President Patton, down in the comments. And hey, if you think nobody should get bullied off their own land, you know what to do.